Thank you very much. The head of service of the Federation, the ambassador from Italy to Nigeria, the president of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, my brother, and the chapter chairman of Abuja Nigerian Institute of Architects, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to be here today to be a part of this auspicious occasion. It's been wonderful being a member of the Nigerian Institute of Architects and being a very long-standing member of this chapter. I joined the NIA Abuja chapter since 1991, and I've been a member all to today, coming from Kaduna and living in Abuja for a very long time. And the story of my life as an architect cannot be divorced from the membership of the Abuja chapter. I have reason to wherever place I have found myself to serve simply because of the foundation that I have had in service and in practice in this great city of Abuja. So I am very delighted to be here to represent the American Institute of Architects in Sub-Saharan Africa as the president. It's wonderful to see faces that I have known for a long time and faces that I'm meeting for maybe a short time now. And I just want to relish in the talks, the messages, the speeches, the presentations that we'll be having today, and see what new I am here to learn. And I want to believe that that is the same thing that is in the heart and the mind of other people. I also want to thank those who have put their time and resources to put up exhibitions here, because there is a lot to learn in architecture and in the environment. So I want to encourage each and every one of us to make that as part of why we are here today. Before we leave here, we must explore everything that they have brought together, and we must take one or two things away that we're going to put into our various practices. And I also want to thank everyone that has come from the allied practice to be here today. Warm welcome from the American Institute of Architects International. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the President of the American Institute of Architects, Sub-Saharan Africa, Architect Gottsman Olarinwaju Olushola, FNIA. Please let's give him another round of applause as he makes his way to his seat. Thank you very much, sir. Now we have arrived at one of the major highlights of today's program, the keynote address. I would like to make welcome on stage the host of this event as she brings to stage the keynote speaker of today's event. Please let's put our hands together for the chair, NIA Abuja chapter.
A round of applause for Tessie. She's doing a good job. Permit me to welcome Architect Usman Karaye, FNIA. He's here with us this morning. A round of applause for him. Also, Architect Saifuddin Muhammad, former Commissioner, Works and Housing, Environment and Local Government, Kwara State. I skipped that in my earlier address. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you. I'll be welcoming the keynote speaker for today. He's a rep of the Head of Service of the Federation, Dr. Emeka Vitalis Obi, MNI, FSM, FCPA. Is a distinguished federal permanent secretary and representative of the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, a dental surgeon by training. He has over 2 decades of distinguished service in Nigeria's public sector. He has served in key leadership positions at the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, the Ministry of Petroleum Resources, and the Federal Civil Service Commission, where he has championed national development planning, public financial management, institutional reforms, energy sector governance, and human capital development. Dr. Obi is an alumnus of the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, KURU, a member of the National Institute, and a respected conference speaker and mentor on governance, institutional reform, development planning, energy policy, innovation, and public sector leadership. At the 42nd General Assembly Exhibition and Awards of Nigerian Architects, Abuja chapter, Dr. Obi represents the head of the Civil Service of the Federation and will deliver the keynote address on leadership, policy, and governance. Join me welcome Dr. Obi to the podium. A round of applause for him, the rep of the head of service of the Federation, as he takes over. Thanks so very much, Doctor, for accepting to do this. We appreciate you.
The president of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, Architect Sani Salawa PA, FNIA, the ambassador of Italy here in Nigeria, His Excellency Ambassador Roberto Mengoni, the chair of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, Abuja chapter, Architect Yemi Shola FNIA, members of the Executive Council of the Nigerian Institute of Architects here in Abuja, past presidents and fellows of the Institute, distinguished architects, and other professionals of the built environment, esteemed exhibitors, I said them outside, award recipients, invited guests, members of the FSA, ladies and gentlemen. As has already been introduced, I stand in for the head of the civil service of the Federation, and she's honorably extending her The materials, the cost, the risk, and the life cycle of the structure. In public leadership, the same discipline applies. Vision will be informed by context, ambition will be disciplined by evidence, authority must be moderated by ethics, urgency must not become recklessness. Leadership answers the questions: where are we going? Why does it matter? What values will guide us? What trade-offs are we prepared to make? And what standards will we refuse to compromise? Good leadership does at least five things. First, it defines a public and personal leadership systems that will remain effective after the purpose has ended and after the office has changed hands. Will be judged. A policy without a clearly defined problem is guesswork. A policy without an implementation owner is an offer. A policy without funding is an inspiration. A policy without timings and measurable outcomes is a promise that cannot be tested. A policy without review and feedback mechanisms may continue long after its assumptions have failed. Now, for those in the built environment, which is your own ecosystem, the consequences of weak policy are immediate and physical. Fragmented land administration, inconsistent development control, slow and opaque approval systems, weak enforcement of standards, disconnected infrastructure, poor maintenance, and uncoordinated urban expansion do not remain inside government files. They become congestion, unsafe buildings, informal settlements, flooding, lost productivity, environmental decline, and diminished public trust. Nigeria is already predominantly urban. A recent World Bank assessment estimates that about 54% of Nigerians live in urban areas and projects that the proportion could reach 70% by 2050. This is not merely a demographic statistic, it is a governance deadline. Every year of unplanned growth locks in costs that future generations will struggle to reverse. Every settlement developed without adequate mobility, water, sanitation, drainage, energy, and public space creates a liability that will eventually disappear in budgets, health outcomes, security pressures, and lost economic opportunity. The Federal Executive Council's approval of the revised National Urban Development Policy in 2025 was therefore an important step towards guiding sustainable, inclusive, safe, and resilient urban development. Yet, as professionals and public officials, we know that approval is the beginning, not the completion of the policy work. So policy must travel the full distance from cabinet decision to institutional mandate, from mandate to budget, and from budget to procurement, from procurement to professional delivery, and from delivery to maintenance, and from maintenance also to measurable public value. As professionals, we must also insist on policy coherence. Housing policy must not or cannot be separated from transport policy. Transport cannot be separated from land use. Land use cannot be separated from environmental resilience. Infrastructure cannot be separated from public finance. Digital innovation cannot be separated from data governance and inclusion. When government works in silos, citizens also inherit the gaps between those silos. Architects and other building professionals must therefore be engaged upstream, where problems and policies are defined, not only downstream, when drawings are required. Professional expertise introduced too late can improve a project, but it may no longer be able to correct a flawed policy premise. Governance is the system through which authority is exercised. Decisions are coordinated, public resources are safeguarded, standards are enforced, performance is measured, citizens are heard, and errors are corrected. If policy is the blueprint, governance is the load-bearing structure. We have all seen attractive designs undermined by weak foundations, inferior materials, or poor supervision. Public policy suffers the same fate when institutions lack capability, roles are unclear, approvals are compromised, data are unreliable, enforcement is selective, or responsibility is